Is an e-mountain bike the same as a mountain bike, or is it completely different? Well, they're pretty similar in terms of geometry and the fact that they have wheels. But with the e-mountain bike, you have a motor, you have a battery, you have the controller, and of course the app that controls it. So the technology is massively different with an e-mountain bike. But what about the riding? An e-mountain bike is definitely a time machine when it comes to the amount of riding that you can fit in. Say for instance, you were just going out for an hour on your mountain bike, then on an e-mountain bike, you'll double the amount of distance that you ride, you'll experience more trails, you'll learn more skills, and you'll see more views. So if you're time constrained, you definitely get way more bang for your buck on an e-mountain bike. It can also be your personal uplift vehicle at trail centres and bike parks, and it makes even more areas of riding, such as big mountain days out, even more accessible than they ever were on a mountain bike. But let's not kid ourselves, there are definitely some differences. Now, I've come to the top of this long, winding technical trail, and I've rode all the way to the top. I've not hiked or pushed my bike once. Now, the type of trails that you ride may be different, and I'm going to come onto that one in a bit, but there's some fundamental differences between the two bikes. Weight for starters. Full power e-mountain bikes are around 22 kilos compared to around 18 kilos on those light to mid assist bikes. A mountain bike will weigh around 13 kilos. Now, aside from these weight differences, e-mountain bikes have a ton more technology, apps to control power, navigation, heart rate, effort, and of course, route finding. Yes, your e-mountain bike will require a bit more maintenance than a mountain bike, I'm afraid. More riding will equal more time spent maintaining your bike in the shed or the workshop. And things such as your components on your drivetrain, well, they're definitely going to take a hammering from all the extra riding you're doing. And you will go through chains, cassettes, and chain rings at a far faster rate than you would do on your mountain bike. And tires, brake pads, that's all going to take an extra hammering too. And we've actually done a video all about this. Check that one out if you haven't seen that one yet. And let's not forget, a mountain bike, well, that never needs charging. Right, time then to unplug my flying machine after a little bit of a cheeky lunchtime top up. I just want to go back to the earlier point in the video where we talked about the time machine. Yeah, the cost may be more, but the riding will have doubled, hence the price. Oh, and you'll probably be more likely to ride in winter too. With an e-mountain bike, it really depends on how much riding you're doing, where you ride and how you look after your kit. But it's not all bad. Think about how many miles of amazing trails you're riding and what you're experiencing, not to mention the skills you're learning along the way and the journey. Well, that's all part of the fun, right? Kind of. With a mountain bike, well, things are pretty simple. Any roof rack or roof bars will suffice to carry your bike. However, with an e-mountain bike, things get a little bit harder. In fact, you're going to need an E-certified rack that probably mounts on your tow bar of your car. But even better, get a car or a van that your bikes will fit inside. If you're flying with your mountain bike, well, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is pack your bike into a bike bag, chuck it on the plane, and you're done. And it's fairly similar with an e-mountain bike, but one thing you will have to leave behind is your battery. So that means either hiring a battery out when you get to your location, or maybe even hiring a bike. But it's when you get to that location, the real big differences emerge between mountain biking and e-mountain biking. Now, mountain bikes and e-mountain bikes often ride the same trails. It just takes longer to climb up those trails on a mountain bike, and that's why some people think that mountain biking is harder than e-mountain biking. But that's incorrect. An e-mountain bike will allow you to climb trails which will definitely see you pushing or hiking a mountain bike up, and therein lies a huge physical difference. If you are riding technical uphill sections on your e-mountain bike, you're going to get a huge workout, and that requires a massive skill set. However, you can ride smoother trails with a lot less effort, and riders that are less fit and slightly heavier will definitely find this a lot easier than a mountain bike. But it's when it comes to exploring the great outdoors, an e-mountain bike definitely opens up the doors to so much more than a mountain bike would. And adventures, well, that's where we're turning our attention to next. A mountain bike is able to go as far as a rider is able to pedal, meaning it is limited by the rider's fitness. It could be 15 miles or it could be 150 miles, but in the end, that range is pretty much infinite. There's no battery to go flat on this one. An e-mountain bike's range is, however, limited by the size of the battery that is on it. And other things that can affect the range from your battery can be ground conditions, your rider weight, the elevation you're climbing, and of course temperature, and much, much more. But to combat all of this, we have things such as 900 watt-hour batteries, range extenders, and range-based navigation. But if you are planning those extra miles, you need to go careful, because one thing you definitely don't want to be doing is hike a bike. Now, route planning is super important if you're heading into the unknown. You definitely don't want to be doing this, the dreaded hike and e-bike. But remember, with most modern e-mountain bikes, you've got that walk button, so unlikely to be carrying your e-bike anywhere. A mountain bike, on the other hand, can be easily carried on a shoulder or your back for those hiker bike sections and will seem a featherweight when compared to an e-bike. The bottom line, however, is, like I said, with proper planning, you'll be riding things you cannot ride on a mountain bike with ease. Things such as winter mud. Winter often means mud and lots of it. Now, if you're riding mud on a mountain bike, it can be a very unpleasant experience. In fact, it's going to take away a lot of your energy, it's going to take away your speed, and in turn, lose a lot of your momentum. Particularly when it comes to those uphill sections, you're probably going to be wheel spinning, get stuck, your mud's going to build up around your forks, and you're going to have to push your bike up the hill. It's a pretty rare occurrence to be pushing your e-mountain bike when it comes to mud sections, because with good technique, that power from the motor will allow you to carry speed and momentum through whichever mud you will encounter out on your rides. E-mountain bikes are amazing at mud, but not so great in water. Now, there's nothing more refreshing after a hot summer's ride to go splashing through a water splash. Now, if you do this on a mountain bike, you might just get your bottom bracket bearings a little bit wet. But with an e-mountain bike, well, you just have to go that little bit more careful. So there you go, they're the same pretty much, but they're very different in some key areas that I hope I've highlighted in this video. Get involved in the comments box down below about where you think e-mountain biking and mountain bike differ. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to us here on EMBN, and whilst you're there subscribing, get in the merch shop and check out all the kit. See ya.